Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to this video. I'm Venkat and this is just me, an open source channel. Right, in this video I'm gonna show you how you can configure Elasticsearch to alert to email. So whenever you get an alert, we are going to configure the alerts to be sent to an configured email address. The tool I'm going to be using is Elastalert, which is Python based. So I've done a couple of videos on Elastalert, and if you go to YouTube and search for Elasticsearch alerting to Jira, uh, or Elasticsearch alert Jira. So there you go. So this video here, Elasticsearch alerts to Jira using Elastalert. So that's one of the video that I did. The other video was this one. So how you can send alerts from your Elasticsearch to a Slack channel. So those are the two videos that I've done based on Elastalert. So this video is going to be an extension of that. I'm going to be using the same setup, same structure, same environment. And now in this case, whenever there is a alert, so it's going to send an email to the pre-configured email address. Right. I'm going to go through this very quickly. If you want more details, please watch these two videos where I have explained things a little bit slowly, each and every step. But instead of reusing my same environment, for those of you who haven't watched these two videos, I'm going to start everything from scratch, but I'm going to go a bit quicker this time. Um, okay, so without wasting any time, I'm going to go into my GitHub repository where I've got some quick notes, so I don't have to copy paste from various websites. GitHub.com. Okay, so I've logged into my GitHub account. I'll paste the link to this GitHub repo in the description. So the ELK repository, under ELK repository, I've got the docs folder, and in docs folder I've got this quick notes. This is basically for me. So if you're not watching this video and if you're straightly diving into this documentation or this quick notes, it won't make any sense to you. So if you're watching this video, you can go through this documentation so that you can quickly copy paste things. Okay, so the environment, as I told you, is very similar to the previous two videos, alerting to the Slack channel, alerting to a Jira instance. So I'm going to be running Elasticsearch and Kibana as Docker containers on my host machine. And I'm going to have a separate Ubuntu 18.04 virtual machine where I'll be installing Filebeat to send the system logs to this Elasticsearch stack. Okay, so here, this is my Ubuntu 18.04 virtual machine. I've provisioned this using Vagrant, using the VirtualBox hypervisor. LSB release. So as you can see, it's an Ubuntu 18.04 machine. And on my host machine is an Arch Linux machine. I've got Docker installed. So please go ahead and install Docker, and we are going to download and start the Docker container for Elasticsearch and Kibana. So that's going to be our first step. So git clone my ELK repository. Let me go to my play directory. That's where I do all my stuff. Paste it, and then cd to ELK, and then to Docker. So here you'll have two Docker Compose files. One is for version 6.5.4, and I've got a one specifically for 7.1.1. So I'm going to move Docker Compose version 7.1.1 to Docker Compose.yaml, and I'm going to run docker compose up -d. So that's going to bring up two containers, Elasticsearch and Kibana Docker containers. Docker compose logs -f. Okay, so Elasticsearch is coming up. So once Elasticsearch is ready, it will go ahead and start the Kibana container. And we should be able to access it from our web browser. So this is running on localhost on my host machine. Kibana is on port 5601, so we should be able to access it shortly. Status changed from yellow to green, Kibana, so that's basically ready. So if I go to my web browser and type localhost colon 5601, there you go. So that's my Kibana dashboard. explore on my own. So at the moment it's plain simple, no data, no data to Elasticsearch. So now we are going to configure our Ubuntu 18.04 virtual machine. We're going to install Filebeat, and then we are going to if you're following the Elasticsearch and Kibana Docker container, I've done a video on that as well. So make sure this step is very important. I haven't done that in this video because I've already done that step. So you have to set the kernel parameter vm.maxmapCount. Otherwise, the Kibana container will start, but the Elasticsearch container won't start, and you won't be able to access the Kibana dashboard. Right? So now we can go to our Ubuntu 18.04 virtual machine, and we are going to configure Filebeat, and then enable the system module, and then send the system module all the system logs to the Elasticsearch server. Okay, going back to my notes, install Filebeat on Ubuntu 18.04. So I'm going to copy that, paste it. That's done. So let's go ahead and copy the next command. Control C. Okay, so that's getting done. And we are going to add the repository URL. Copy, that's done. And finally, sudo apt-get update and apt-get install Filebeat. Paste it. Okay, so that's installed. So now what we're going to do is we are going to edit the Filebeat configuration to tell where is our Elasticsearch and Kibana is hosted. Sudo vi etc filebeat.yaml. So in here, if you go down to the dashboard section and search for Kibana, so there is Kibana. Uncomment the host entry and then change this localhost to the IP address or DNS name of your server that's running the Elasticsearch and Kibana. So in my case, it's on my host machine, which has the IP address 192.168.1.81, 192.168.1.81. And if you scroll further down, you will see the output section and output.elasticsearch. Again, here change localhost to the IP address of the server that's running Elasticsearch, 192.168.1.81. So that's all needed. So now we are going to enable the system module. Sudo filebeat modules enable system. That's done. Let's quickly test our configuration for any errors. Sudo filebeat test config. So our configurations are all looking fine, and we can see whether this filebeat instance can talk to the Elasticsearch server that we configured in the filebeat.yaml. Sudo filebeat test output. As you can see, everything is looking good. The Elasticsearch URL is 192.168.1.81 colon, the port is 9200. So it says talk to server is okay. So it can talk to the server, and the version of Elasticsearch we are running is 7.1.1. So now we are going to set up the dashboard, the Kibana dashboards for the system module. Sudo filebeat setup. All right, that's done. And the final step is to start the Filebeat service. Sudo systemctl start Filebeat. Okay, so we are now good, and cd to play directory, cd to client. So that's my Vagrant environment. Vagrant SSH. I'm just opening up another terminal to my Ubuntu 18.04 machine. Okay, so now we can go, and if you look at the management interface, index patterns, you will see the Filebeat index pattern that's got created. So now we can go ahead and go to the Discover tab, and you will see the logs from the client machine. So if you look at the agent.hostname, it's client. So my machine name is client. So we are receiving logs from the Ubuntu 18.04 VM to the Elastic Stack that's running as Docker containers on my host machine. So that part is working well. So far, so good. So now we are going to proceed to installing the Elastalert. Install and set up Elastalert. Okay, so the first requirement is to install Python. Sudo apt-get install Python. So the requirement is Python 2.7, And if you want to read more about it, I've explained the individual steps in my in those two videos for Slack and for Jira. If you want more details, watch those two videos because I've done those videos. I'm quickly going through these steps without actually explaining it. Okay, so now apt-get install Python, maybe -y. All right, Python is installed. Python minus version. So we've got 2.7.15. And the next step is to install Python pip and few other dependencies. All right, that's done. And the next step is to git clone the Elastalert. Paste it and cd to Elastalert. So this is where you've got all your files that we need. And then the next step is to run the setup tools. Make sure to run everything using the root account or prefix your command with sudo. So sudo pip install setup tools. So that's done. And then this one is also important. We have to install the PyOpenSSL module. Copy that, paste it. And the next step is to run python setup.py install. Paste that. All right, the command is now complete. The next step is to install the Elasticsearch module, Python module. Install that, and now we need to copy the configuration file. So there is a sample configuration file. I'm going to copy that to config.yaml. Okay, so we've copied the configuration file. Now we have to edit the configuration file to tell Elastalert where to look for Elasticsearch. So we are installing Elastalert on this Ubuntu 18.04 virtual machine, and we have to tell this machine, tell this Elastalert instance, the actual URL of the Elasticsearch. Okay, so edit the config.yaml file, and the only thing you need to change here is es_host. Change that to IP address or DNS name of your Elasticsearch server. So in my case, it's 192.168.1.81. Close that, and let's create the Elastalert index. So we need to create index for Elastalert. So it stores its own data in Elasticsearch. So Elastalert create index. Okay, so it has created the indexes. That's good. And now what we are going to do is configure example rules example frequency.yaml file. Okay, so let's go ahead and update one of the configurations. So if I edit example rules example frequency.yaml file, let's change some of the options here. Name of this rule, let's change the name of this rule to a quick demo of email alert. Type is frequency index. So the index that this Elastalert is going to query for patterns is Filebeat. Number of events, let's say if it matches 3 events in the time frame of 1 hour, then we need to get notified by email. Okay, so what we are looking for as a pattern, what type of pattern we are looking for in the Filebeat index. Okay, field name is going to be process.name. If process.name matches, for example, just me, I will show you a uh, quick thing here. Sudo logger, let's use the logger command -t, just me. -t is for tagging, so that will be the process.name in the log file, and just any random text. Hello, this is testing. Okay, if I go to Kibana dashboard and if I search for just me, refresh. Okay, there you go. The entry that we just made to the system log syslog is appearing here. So the process.name is just me. So that's what we are looking for here. If the log entry matches the pattern where process.name is just me, and if it occurs 3 times within the time frame of 1 hour, then we need to get notified by our email. Okay, alert is set to email in the default configuration, and you can change your email address. You can add multiple email addresses here. So I've created a temporary email address just for this demonstration, which is server.jbs@gmail.com. Okay, so that's all it's needed at the moment. We can test this rule by running, there is a command in my notes. We're going to test this rule, Elastalert test rule. And the configuration file we're going to use is config.yaml. And the rule that we are going to test is under example rules directory, and the rule is example underscore frequency.yaml. Okay, successfully loaded a quick demo of email alert. So that's the name of the rule that we were testing. And you can see in this period there was one hit, so which we did here. So there was one hit, and would have written the following documents to write back index default. So this is just to do a quick testing. So our rule is all fine. So now we need to do the actual testing. So server.jbs@example.com. So that's the email address. And we have installed Elastalert on this Ubuntu 18.04 machine. So this machine needs to be able to send email to my Gmail address. So you can use SMTP. You can configure postfix to relay whatever email you are sending to this host will be relayed to our SMTP server, Gmail SMTP server. So I've got a quick configuration. So this is not the focus of this video. So you can configure whatever email client you've got, and you can configure the SMTP host option and so on. So for this demo, I'm going to be using Gmail as my SMTP relay. And the machine where I have installed Elastalert is the machine where I have to configure the SMTP relay configuration. So this is an Ubuntu 18.04 machine. I'm going to install postfix and few other packages. Paste. Okay, so I'm going to go with the default configuration, internet site, client.example.com. So that's the name of my machine, virtual machine. All right, all the packages have been installed. So now it's time to edit our postfix configuration. So sudo vi etc postfix main.cf, go to the very end of the file, and the important bit here, which I haven't mentioned in the notes, is to change the inet protocols from all to IPv4. So that's important. If you leave it as all, your emails will be sitting in the queue. It won't get delivered. So change that to IP version 4, IPv4, and then copy these configurations as it is. Copy and paste. So here, if you see, the SMTP SASL password map is etc postfix SASL underscore password. So we are going to create that file in a minute. Okay, so that's all it's needed in the postfix configuration. Save that file, sudo vi etc postfix SASL underscore password. So there won't be any file with this name, so you have to create this file. So here is where you need to enter the your credentials. So smtp.gmail.com, and the SMTP port is 587. My username is server.jbs@gmail.com, and the password is this one. So copy that, paste it, and save it. Okay, so at this point, I need to mention something. So this password here is not my actual Gmail password. So in order for you to use the SMTP, Gmail as your SMTP server from any machine, from any Linux machine, the basic thing is you need to install postfix. And the important bit here is you need to enable two-factor authentication for your Google account, followed by generating app password. So I don't think I mentioned it here. Yeah, it's here. So for your Gmail account, go ahead and enable two-factor authentication, which I've already done, and you have to generate an app password. So whenever you want to access the Gmail server, you can use the app password. So my app password is this one. I've already generated it. You can search in Google how to enable two-factor authentication and how to generate an app password. So in order to generate app password, you need to have a two-factor authentication. So once you have done that, you will get a password similar to this one. You will get a 16 digit password, and the spaces are important. So this is valid just for this demo. So don't try to access my Gmail account using this password. It won't work. By the time you watch this video, it's already been deleted. Okay, and make sure to change the permissions on that file to 400 etc postfix SASL password, and then sudo post map etc postfix SASL password, sudo postmap postmap warning etc postfix main.cf warning overriding early entry. That's another thing. That's good. Okay, go back to etc postfix main.cf configuration. We have set our relay host to smtp.gmail.com, but there is an already existing relay host which we need to delete. Yeah, it's here. So there's a duplicate entry. You just have to delete this line here. Okay. Sudo postmap etc postfix sasl underscore password. Okay, that's done. So now restart the postfix service. You can either reload or restart. Sudo systemctl restart postfix. Okay, so that's my email, Gmail. So at the moment there are no emails. Let's do a quick testing whether we have configured our Ubuntu 18.04 machine to relay emails to our Gmail. Let's have a quick test. Echo testing, pipe that to mail command, -s for subject, test email, and send it to server.jbs@gmail.com. server.jbs@gmail.com. So that's my email address. Okay, so that's done. Sudo postq -p, mail queue is empty. So if for any reason your configuration is not right and postfix is having some problems, difficulties sending your email to Gmail, then if you do sudo postq -p, you will see your mail will be sitting in that queue. So you need to change your configuration. You need to make it work in, and then you do sudo postq -ef to flush the queue, which means it will try to send the email that's in the queue again. Okay, so as you can see here, our testing has worked fine. So that's our test email, and the body of the email is testing. So email delivery is working brilliantly. So we are good to go. Let me delete that email. Okay, so now going back to the configuration, vi example rules example frequency.yaml. If we go back here, so the process name is just me. The matching, that's the pattern to match. And if it exceeds total of 3 events within a time frame of 1 hour, we should be getting an email. And the alert is set to email, and the email is set to server.jbs@gmail.com. So you can have multiple email address for this field. Okay, so that's done. And finally, the command to run it as a service is python -m elastalert verbose rule is example frequency.yaml. So here you don't need to mention example underscore rules, because the Elastalert module knows where your rules are stored, because vi config.yaml, we have defined in the config file that the rules folder is example underscore rules. So we don't have to explicitly specify the rules directory. Python -m elastalert.elastalert verbose rule is example frequency.yaml. Okay, so that's running. It's going to run every minute. So that's again configurable in config.yaml. How often do you want to scan the Filebeat index for the to look for the pattern? So by default, it looks at every 1 minute. So let's do a quick uh, logging. Okay, so I've made 4 more entries, and if I go to Kibana and if I refresh, you will see all these entries that I've made here. That's for the last 15 minutes, I guess. Yeah, so that's for the last 15 minutes. We've made 4 entries, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next time Elastalert runs, so it's actually running in the daemon mode. It runs every 1 minute. It goes to the Elasticsearch engine and search Filebeat index for the pattern process.name just me. And if it finds more than three within a time frame of 1 hour, it will send an alert. Cool. So if you look at here, it says 5 hits and sent email to server.jbs@gmail.com. So let's go to our email, and there you go. So you've got your email alert from Elastalert. Okay, if you click that, you will see the body of the email. And again, you can configure how you want to show, and if you want to include a custom text message inside the email, you can do that. I think I've shown that while I was doing the Jira video. So if you want more details about it, go through the Elastalert to Slack, Elastalert to Jira. Uh, yeah, by the way, I'm sorry. I think I did these steps very quickly. So if you've got any doubts or if you can't follow, just slow down the video, just pause it at various points. Uh, there are lots of moving parts in this demonstration. So you have to make sure that every single step that I've shown you is working for you. If you get any one step wrong, and if you complete the video and it won't work, and you will really have a difficult time finding where exactly you made the mistake. So it's worth spending the time initially doing each step and make sure that it's working fine before moving on to the next step. And in the end, once you're comfortable, you can do that very quickly. All right, that's it from this video. If you've got any questions or doubts or anything isn't working for you, just leave me a comment. I'll be more than happy to help you. And yeah, thank you so much for your time watching this video today. I will see you all in another video. Bye bye.